Today Baba says that only I give you the directions that make you elevated. Now you see in the Gita, it is said, Shrimat Bhagavanu Shri means elevated, Mat means truth and directions both. So Baba says Shrimat Bhagavanu means Bhagavan or God speaks that which is the truth and gives us directions, and though that truth and those directions, they make us elevated. And you see, in this whole world, everybody is only degrading day by day. Yes, and then we have a theory of evolution. So you see, it's so interesting that we can't even see degradation while, our intellects are full of this idea of evolution, and what we see around is only devolution or degradation. But then we have been fed with this false idea that we are evolving. And because we are made to think, made to believe that we are evolving, we can't even see that we are not evolving, we are degrading. And just look at the human condition every day. Not just in terms of spiritual, but even the physical conditions are degrading every day. So, just wearing fancy clothes and living in a room that is air conditioned, or washing your clothes in a washing machine, that doesn't mean we are in good physical conditions. Look at the water we are drinking or the air we are breathing, and look at the quality of, look at the vibrations that we are living in. Look at the food we are eating. So just look at, how life is. And I remember there was this one Kanya, and she came to a center in Delhi, and she came from a village. And when she was coming from the village, so, everybody thought that she would be very happy to come to Delhi because Delhi is a big city. And when she came, she was very sad for 2 days. And then I asked her, what happened? Why are you sad? And then she said, I can't see the sky. There is no sky, no air. No, I have not breathed fresh air. And in our village, we get everything fresh. And here, there is nothing. So, and there is so much pollution, and I don't like it. So then, of course, I told her, did you come for fresh air and water, or did you come to do seva? So then she said, no, I came for doing seva, Didi. So I said, okay, but you see, this is the experience. So, people think that when we are moving in cars or living in air-conditioned rooms, so that's a very big sign of advancement. But look at how things are changing around you, and what is the world like around you, and look at the crime rate, and look at how fearful and vulnerable we feel, and look at everything. And even physically, not just spiritually, but physically also, things are bad. And when somebody asks me that, People have a lot of thing about medication, and when they take medications, they are very interested in knowing what are the side effects. And then I always tell them, do you ask about the side effects of the air that you're breathing and the water you're drinking? if you or the food you are eating. If you knew about its side effects, you would stop breathing, drinking, and eating. So just eat the medicine. So whatever is necessary, you have to have it. So this is how it is. So Shiv Baba comes and says that everything, so you see, Shiv Baba says, I am called the truth. So it is said God is the truth. God is truth. And why God is truth? Because God is the one who comes and tells you the truth. And truth is power. So truth is the only thing that elevates you. And in India we say, Jhuti Maya, Jhuti Kaya, Jhuta Sab Sansar, which means that Maya is false, the body is false, and this whole world is full of falsehood. But it takes some time for us to actually come to the experience that this whole world is a world of falsehood. And everything that we are taught is false. So everything that we are taught is full of, the untrue. And Baba comes and tells us the truth. And then, because we have heard that which is false for so long, there is a genuine tussle, in the mind when we hear the truth. Because the false is so seated in our intellect that the truth takes some time to fight it. And there is a yuddh, there's a whole war going on inside. When you listen to what Baba says, initially, when we come to Baba and we listen to Baba's knowledge about the time cycle, about the soul, about the three worlds, about Satyug, and we again going back to Satyug, so these things take time to settle in, because we have heard so much which is not. Money is power these days. So money is power until you don't have it. When you have it, you know how powerless you are with money. So, and money can't even buy you respect. People think that when you have money, people will respect you. But people can disrespect you when you have a lot of money. And that is when you discover that money is not giving you what you wanted or what you thought you had. So, about this thing, no, rich people don't think like this. They make the poor people think like this. There was one Mata and she told me that she is filthy rich, and then she told me that, Didi, my friend once told me that if you have to cry, then crying in a hut and crying in a Mercedes are two different experiences. So rona hi hai, to then we should go and cry in a Mercedes. So at least you should, you should be able to afford a Mercedes, so that when you cry in it, you feel not so sorrowful. So then I asked her, you have Mercedes, so have you cried in a Mercedes and does it feel different? So she said, no, it feels the same. Crying feels like crying only. And then she said, well, so then I asked her, did you tell that friend that it's the same thing? She said no, because she doesn't have a Mercedes and I will not give her that experience with my Mercedes. So then I know it, but I'm not going to tell her. So you see, these are the things that rich people know, that money is not making them happy. But they don't want to give that power to poor people, and they don't want to give that experience to them. So they want that illusion to be there. That is how it is working. So Baba says that this is a world of falsehood, and everything that we are told is false. But when you even listen to that statement that everything that we have heard and understood is false, the intellect says, how can everything be false? But it is like that. And Maya has deceived us in everything. And Baba says that I now give you the directions that make you elevated. And first thing is, when Baba teaches us the picture of the ladder, then we understand that the ladder is coming down, So we are descending, we are not evolving. And day by day we are descending. And whatever human efforts are there in the world, money, power, science, technology, they are not helping you to ascend. And if you look at any medicine, when there is a new illness, there is a new medicine. But that medicine is the cure for one illness and the seed for 3 more illnesses. Yes, and this is why, so you go to any doctor, they will tell you, you will treat this thing with this medicine and then it will give rise to this, this and this. So, so everything is having, whatever we think is the cure is not the cure. It's just a necessary evil because you don't have any alternative, so you take it. But then everything is the cure for something and the seed for another problem. You are trying to solve the problem of heat and problem of high temperature through ACs and refrigerators, which are again giving greenhouse emissions, and then that is leading to more global warming. So everything is precisely counterproductive in this world. So Baba says that we are ascending, we are not evolving, and this is one thing that this is one of the things that Baba tells us. Then Baba today specifies some things. For example, Baba says that in the world we are made to believe that human relationships, human beings are parents, teachers, gurus, husband. Yes, so these are the relationships that we have with human beings. But what is our real relationship with human beings? So I am a soul and the other soul with me is just a co-actor. Yes, they are not parents, teachers, gurus, or they are not, they are not in the status they are supposed, you are made to believe they are in. So when you say somebody is a parent, teacher, guru, you hold them in high esteem. Yes, and then what happens is you think that their word is the final word, and what if you follow what they say, then you will get everything through those directions. But then it is not like that. Human beings are human beings, very limited intellects, and although they may have very good wishes, they don't know what is best for us or what is true. Yes. So this is why Baba says you must know that every soul is just a soul. They are a co-actor around me. No human being is your teacher, no human being is your Satguru. And then Baba says that women are told that your husband is your God, Pati Parmeshwar. And then, so is the husband God? So, so you see that when we listen to Ramayana, then it is said that Sita's husband was God. But then you see, it was said that God was her husband, not her husband was God. There's a difference between the two. God being your husband and your husband being God are two different things. Yes, but then this is how things are twisted, and we say that, so, and then in the story also, we show that even God was not presented well. So, God was also shown taking decisions and making Sita do stuff which doesn't doesn't look very sensible or just. Yes, for example, why would a husband choose to put his wife to test to please somebody else? Because is it okay to think that the opinion of somebody in the praja matters so much that your wife has to be put to test to calm that opinion? So these are things that we have to start questioning, and Baba says that there are so many beliefs in the world, and one big belief is father, teacher, Satguru. And what does Shiv Baba say? Shiv Baba says, I am your father, I am your teacher, I am your Satguru, I am your husband, I am in every relationship with you. And every soul, whether in a male body or a female body, is the wife and I am the husband. So Shiv Baba tells these things to us, that even if you are a soul in a male body, you still are you are the Atma, and I am the husband of husbands. I am the Paramatma. So Shiv Baba says, I am the one you have all relationships with, and human souls are just there, they are co-actors. You don't have to elevate them to the status of a father, teacher, Sadguru. Because if you think like that, then you put them in positions of undue authority. And then what happens is, when you put somebody in a position of undue authority, then you don't use your intellect. You keep doing what they are saying, because you think that that's the way to do things. And then you bear the brunt of your own karma. And when that comes to you, then you think that, what did I do wrong? I did it on this person's directions and that person's directions. But you have to use your intellect in everything, because there is no human being who is the father, teacher, Satguru. Okay, so only God has these, only Paramatma is the father, teacher, Satguru. No human being is anybody's father, teacher, Satguru, or Pati Parmeshwar. So we have to understand these things. And I will tell you one thing, these things look very, when we don't understand how deeply they affect the condition of human beings, then we don't appreciate why Baba gives so much clarity about these things. I will tell you one incident. There was one lady, and she came to the center, and she was all of 23 years of age, and she had been married off when she was 18. And when she came to the center, she had been living alone for 3 years. And then she told me that when she got married, her husband forced her into prostitution. But then she said that I was very naive. I was all of 18, and ever since childhood I was told that your husband is God. So I could not even understand that what's happening with me is wrong. It took me two full years of doubt. I kept doubting whether maybe I am not a good wife, and so I'm not able to trust my husband, but he must not be doing something wrong, because he is the husband. And then after 2 years, after so much of struggle, and then she mustered the courage to come out of that relationship, and there was nobody who supported her, not even the parents. And she was not very educated. Then she started, then she came to, to Delhi, and then she started doing the job as a receptionist somewhere. And then she came to the center, and then she said that, Didi, we shouldn't be taught these things. And I make it a point to tell everybody that, keep your eyes and ears open. And I didn't keep them open because I was blinded. And I was not blinded with the eye. What was I blinded with? So you see, the intellect is so blinded by these things that sometimes you can't see. I have seen parents also making decisions which are not good for children. I remember I had a friend, and she had two brothers, and the elder brother, he studied well, and then he went abroad. And then the father of this friend of mine, he had a shop, he had a business. And then because the elder brother, he went away, elder son went away, the father got very scared that maybe the younger son will also study well and go away. So what he did is, after +2, he didn't allow the son to study. He said, just sit in the shop with me and run my business, and I will not allow you to study. And then I remember we were also young, and then my friend used to come and tell me that my father is not allowing him to go to college. So then we had nothing to say, because we were not that, we didn't have the intellect to think so much. And today, that brother of hers, who was very bright in his studies, he is sitting in a shop which is running in duress, and that is not profitable, and because the commodity they were selling got obsolete, and then he is leading a miserable life. So sometimes we don't understand that why Baba tells us that I am your father, teacher, Sadguru. I am the husband of husbands. I am not, so no human being. So we must have love and respect for every soul around us. We must also, keep the dignity of the role, right? So it is not a good idea to be rude to your spouse or anything, because being rude is not the sign of a pure soul. So you have to keep the dignity of every relationship also. If society has a certain way of, looking at relationships, then keep that dignity also. For example, even when somebody is just calling their husband by the name, and so if somebody minds it, there is no problem with not calling him by the name because that is harmless, right? So if you could just, say aap or not use tu, that's a good idea, no problem. But you should use your intellect. Intellect should be able to discern. You should not be so blinded by the power of authority that you can't distinguish between right and wrong. So that much we should have. Or if somebody is really taking away the right to education, or the right to lead your life with purity, or do what is good for your spiritual development, we should have the courage to stand up for ourselves and not be subdued by the power of authority. So Baba says this is another thing that is fed into us, and we must understand every soul is a co-actor. We are loveful and respectful, but we are not, we don't have to give in to any authority when we know it's not right, whatever they are saying. When they are saying it's right, then no problem. They are saying it with authority, you can humbly accept it. Yes, but when you think that's wrong, then you must have the courage and not be subdued by that power of authority. So that is one thing. Second thing, you see, Baba says that the world doesn't understand sin and virtue. So you see, Baba says that lust is a sin. Engaging in lust is a sin. In the Gita we hear, Kam Mahashatru hai. Yes, in the Gita it is very clearly written, Kam Mahashatru, and Kam means lust. So engaging in lust is the highest form of sin, is mentioned in the Gita. But does anybody in the world think that it's a sin to engage in lust? No. We may think that being angry is a sin, but being lustful is a sin. Nobody thinks like that. In fact, these days, somebody who practices celibacy, you go to your gynecologist, they will tell you that that's not good for you. So don't practice celibacy. That is against your biological laws and other stuff. But Baba says no, that's not true. And being pure is my original quality, and engaging in lust is a sin. And Baba says, I am the one telling you the truth, and you have to understand that what I tell you is true, and whatever you have heard until now is false. And only by following what I tell you, you will be able to change this Kalyug to Satyug. You will be able to change your condition of sorrow to a condition of happiness. But it takes a lot of struggle. The intellect is in a war with all those ideas that we have heard earlier when we listen to what Baba says. And then second thing Baba today is very much underlining is stealing is a sin. Yes, and stealing sometimes, when I was in office, I had a colleague, and then he told me, why don't you take bribes? So I said, why do you take bribes? So then he said, I take it because if I don't take it, somebody else will take it. So why not I? So I said, okay, but then if somebody else takes it, that's his karma. So he said, no, I don't want to go into karma and also. So then he kept taking bribes. But you see that these stealing, taking bribes, Baba says these are very big karmic accounts. They create big karmic accounts. And let me ask you one question. Whatever you have stolen, if you have, in this life, even if you have stolen a pencil or an eraser, you will never forget it. Yes, even if you have stolen a pencil or a notebook or an eraser in your childhood, you never forget it, do you? You can never forget that which you have stolen. It is that kind of a traumatizing sin. It leaves a scar on you. And I remember there was this one gathering we had, and then we were just asking, do you remember what you have stolen? So one brother, he said that when he was in school, he took a book from library and didn't return. And he kept that book, and he said that even today when he looks at that book, he remembers that he stole that. That is not what he bought, but what he stole. And he said that, today I have a lot of money, but there are so many times I want to just go back and return that book. But in lieu of that, I have donated many books. But I cannot get rid of that thought that this is the book I stole. So stealing is such a big sin. And Baba says that, stealing creates a habit. And somebody who steals a straw will steal hundreds of thousands tomorrow. So never create this habit of stealing. And I'll tell you one story. So this story is about a thief, and this thief, he was sheltered by a king in his palace, because the thief was also very talented and skilled. So the king said, why do you have to steal? Now I'll give you everything. I will give you facilities and money and everything. So you don't need to steal. So you take everything from me and work for me. And you will not even have to work as much as you have to work for stealing. So it's a good deal. But you see, stealing is not about need, it's about a sanskar. So then, for many days, this thief, he stayed in the palace, and then every day he would, control himself from stealing things. And he would now and again have that thought, let me steal this, let me steal that. And then one day, he was not found in the palace. And then the king thought maybe he ran away with a lot of treasures. So the whole palace was hunted for what is lost. And then there was everything intact in the palace, only one big heap of haystack, that was missing. So that haystack was missing. And then the king said, I don't know, why would he steal hay from here? So he could steal anything, it was all in his access. So he thought maybe that is just missing. And then years later, that thief was found again. And then the king asked him, what did you steal that day and why did you run away? So he said, every day, I would have thoughts of stealing. Someday I thought, let me steal these pearls. Someday I thought, let me steal these diamonds. But then I would control myself. Then one day I thought, let me steal this hay from here. And then that day I couldn't control myself, so I ran away with the hay. So you see, this is how it works. So stealing is a habit, and stealing is a sin. And Baba says, don't create this habit of stealing, and change this habit. And even if, so, some people have this habit that of taking bribes or of stealing and not hiding and eating, that is also stealing, not disclosing what you're eating. They will eat on the sly, so they want to steal food. So that is also a habit with many people. And Baba says, beware of this habit of stealing. And Baba says this is a sin. And Baba says, if you have that habit, then you will also steal from Baba's home. And I remember there was this one Mata who used to come to the center, and then one day the newspaper was missing. So there was a Mata who used to bring the newspaper every day, and then that newspaper was missing, and then we saw on camera that Mata was taking the newspaper. Now you see, it's such a small thing. It's not a big thing. It's just a newspaper. But you see, even taking that much from the center creates a big sin. So Baba says, if you have these habits, then you will create this mahapap of stealing from Baba's home. And you see, in the world where there are figures and figurines of God, where there are idols of God, people, there also they are wary of stealing. And if somebody steals from Baba's home, practically it's such a big sin. But we don't understand that, it's not about a newspaper or a bunch of grapes. It's about it's about that act of stealing. And Baba says, many people think that, Baba is watching, so I'm stealing on his watch. But Baba says, even I'm not watching, because you need to tell me what you're doing. So do you know this, that you cannot assume that Baba knows. You have to tell it to Baba. That's the way it works with Baba. So you have to be honest with Baba, and you have to tell what you did to Baba. You don't assume that Baba knows what I did. And then second thing Baba says, even if I watched you steal, even if I know you stole, still the karma and the fruit will come to you. So you have created the karma and that fruit will come to you, and I cannot save you from that because I do not intervene in the law of karma. So Baba says this is why you have to be very careful about these acts of stealing. So do not create this habit. Never take anything without, anything that accounts as stealing. So if you create that habit, then tomorrow you will steal in Baba's home also, and that will create a very big sin. So this is about some things that Baba tells us. It is the theory of devolution, not evolution. Then Baba is my parent, teacher, Satguru, husband of husbands. And then Baba says lust is a sin, and then stealing is a sin. And there are other points in the Murli also. You go through that, and if you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, Om Shanti.